Hello again, St. Michael family. Monsignor Tim Chagru here. It is Sunday, March 29th, the fifth Sunday of Lent. I hope that you are doing well amid all of the disruptions of this very stressful time. I thank you for your expressions of concern for Father Tom, Father Sebastian, and myself. We are doing well, thank you. And we are remembering you daily in the Masses that we're offering privately. I want to take a moment to thank the tech team who have been helping us to live stream our Sunday Masses, Kevin Comiskey, Patty Conhini, and Dominic Isolda, with help from Tom Hannon and our youth minister, Rich Donovan. I'm grateful, too, to our office staff who are coming in periodically at staggered times to assist in keeping basic parish services going, and to our maintenance staff for regularly cleaning and sanitizing the church. A big thank you to Sister Loretta for her constant work on updating our website, to Patty Conhini for maintaining our Facebook site, to Rich Donovan for his regular outreach to our youth group, and to the members of our parish response team, pastoral council, and finance council for their advice and support in this constantly changing environment. It is important that we stay in communication, and I encourage you to continue keeping us informed of ways in which we might be able to assist you or someone you know who may be in need of the services of a priest. Today's passage from the Gospel of St. John relates one of the most significant miracles of Jesus, his raising of Lazarus from the dead. The episode sets the stage for the growing determination on the part of the temple authorities in Jerusalem to deal permanently with what they see as a growing threat from the popularity of Jesus and his hold on the people's curiosity. The account of Jesus' raising of Lazarus gives us many points to reflect upon. I often use a shorter version of the passage at funeral liturgies, likening us to Martha, painfully puzzled by her brother's death and wondering why Jesus didn't do something to avert it. "If you had been here, my brother would never have died," Martha says to Jesus. And she is not satisfied with his initial answer to her accusation, "Your brother will rise again." Martha may believe in a future resurrection, but that is not much comfort now when the pain of her loss is so acute. Then Jesus redefines life and death for her and for us. "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will never die." Then he asks her point blank, "Do you believe this?" Reflecting first on her long experience with Jesus, Martha finally answers his question, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the one who is coming into the world." She doesn't say she understands, but only that she has faith and trust in Jesus. Hers is a very honest and sincere act of faith in the face of grief and an inability to understand, a desire to know why. This past Friday, March 27th, was the 30th anniversary of the death of a close priest friend of mine, Father Charles Christelle. Charlie had survived 2 major bouts with cancer earlier in his life, involving surgeries that left him permanently disfigured and with an irreversible colostomy. On his 46th birthday, March 25th, 1990, Charlie went out to dinner with his parents and brother and sister and his pastor. The following day, he went into Bayonne and Jersey City to hear confessions at 2 Catholic high schools. He returned home with the start of a painful headache. Through the afternoon, the headache became severe. He canceled his evening appointments. Through the night, his pastor heard Charlie moaning with pain and wanted to call for help, but Charlie refused, thinking it would all pass. In the morning, he was much worse, nearly unconscious. And finally, at 6 a.m., the rescue squad was called and they brought him to the emergency room at St. Barnabas Hospital. By 7:30, Charlie had expired. It took several days for the results of a post-mortem to arrive. Charlie had died of meningitis, with no clear indication of how he had contracted it. Charlie was an extremely popular priest, and his parishioners were devastated by his sudden death. Just 2 days earlier, he had been celebrating Sunday Mass with them, greeting them in his usual way, often with a hug or a kiss, and now he was dead. At his wake that week in the church, hundreds of people paid their respects, and a priest who assisted in the parish on Sundays told me after Charlie's funeral and burial that Friday that he wondered what he and the other priests would be able to say on the weekend to comfort the parish. It would be the 5th Sunday of Lent, and the gospel was about the raising of Lazarus. I happened to be Charlie's executor, and on the Monday after his funeral, I went to his room to retrieve some papers I would need. I was both startled and deeply comforted by what I discovered. Charlie was always well organized, and I found that he had already completed the homily he intended to deliver on that fifth Sunday of Lent. He was already more than a week ahead of time. His text was neatly typed out. I read it with amazement and with regret that I had not found it earlier. It would have answered that priest's concern. Charlie had a homily technique that he often used. He would pretend he was Ted Koppel, then familiar to most Americans as the host of a nightly news program that featured interviews with people prominent in the news. Charlie, on this occasion, was going to present himself once again as Ted Koppel and was going to interview Lazarus just after he had been raised from the dead. As I read through the homily, I was moved by the deep spiritual insight with which Charlie had imagined first Lazarus's brief experience with death and then his awakening to life again. In Charlie's recreation, Lazarus spoke with a calm and hopeful assurance about the mystery of life in God's hands. Not unlike Patrick Swayze's character in the movie Ghost, which was released a few months later, in Charlie's homily, the character of Lazarus offered a message of comfort that stressed the importance of living always with a consciousness of God's love and care. Charlie, of course, hadn't known that he would not live to deliver that homily, but I could tell that he had, in a sense, already been to the mountaintop, perhaps because of his earlier experience with serious illness. And he wanted to assure all who face illness and the uncertainties surrounding life and death that we are going to be all right, and that all of us should recognize the gift of life we are given and use it as God wishes, trusting in Him and caring for one another. As we pass through these confusing days, in a spirit of Lenten focus on what's important, may we draw hope and confidence from Jesus' words to Martha, "Whoever lives and believes in me will never die," and join with her in responding, "I have come to believe that you are the Messiah, the one who is coming into the world." Before closing, I want to encourage you to check regularly our parish website, stmichaelcranford, all one word, .org, for updates on parish activities and for a great deal of content helpful for prayer and reflection during this crisis and throughout the year. Once again, be safe. Check on friends or neighbors who may be vulnerable. You're my prayers daily. God bless you.